Hey, it's Ethan with ComTech. So today I want to go in, what is the life cycle of a computer? We get asked this question, I would say at least probably once a week, because all of our clients have to determine when should they replace their machines or should they just let them keep running. So I wanted to go over what the manufacturers say. So this could be Lenovo, it could be Dell, it could be HP, whatever it may be, they're roughly the same. I have split this into desktop computers and laptops, so because it's a different recommendation on both. The first one, the manufacturers, let's say Dell in this case, Dell recommends somewhere around 3 years. That is why they put when you typically get sold a business class machine, it's going to come with a 3-year next business day warranty. These manufacturers have been doing this for many years. They're smart people. They know when hardware is going to start failing, so that's why they set it at 3 years. You can buy an extended warranty, of course, but typically they recommend every 3 years. Also, technology is changing so much, processors and that sort of thing, they change pretty quickly. So 3 years is a good estimate from the manufacturers. The next thing is laptops. So typically, a laptop is sold with a 1-year business warranty. You certainly can extend it to 3 years, but that's typically the area. Laptops are a little bit different just in how much they're being used and they're physically moving all over the place compared to a desktop. So a little less, I don't know if I want to say a little bit of less moving parts on the desktop than the laptop, but they just have a little bit of a different lifespan. Now, for ComTech's recommendation, so I want to put publicly what our recommendation is, but we'll go to the next slide in just a moment and I'll tell you why we make that recommendation and how we're going to help, because that might be a little bit flexible depending on what your needs are. So ComTech's typical recommendation is for a desktop is 3 to 5 years. I recognize that is out of the warranty. So once you make it past that 3 years, it's out of the warranty. But again, you'll see in the next slide, we'll talk about it. But a lot of times, a lot of our clients say, hey, I don't need that little bit of increased speed, and I'm willing to take the risk of a hard drive failing or a piece of memory failing or whatever it may be. It's okay. It's not the end of the world. So we may let those ride a little bit farther. Laptop, pretty much the same thing. It all depends on how much you're physically moving the laptop around, what your needs are. They certainly can last 1 to 5 years, just depends on how you treat them and what you're trying to do with them. So to this slide, how do you make that decision? You're watching this, you're a business owner, you're an office manager, you're trying to figure out, when do I replace things, when do I not? So I only have a few points. First thing is, what is your workload? Are you using pieces of software that are super intensive? Maybe the software, I'll use an example, like an AutoCAD software or something like that. If the AutoCAD software is constantly updating, constantly needing more horsepower, needing more machine to be able to run the updates that it's doing because it's giving you more graphics and that sort of thing, maybe you want to stay on the lower end. If you're using a machine in the shop and your users only come in, log into the machine just so they can get on the network, maybe launch one small piece of software, maybe they're only in Microsoft Excel. Hey, maybe we take that machine and we put it on a little bit of a different replacement schedule because we don't have to replace that every 3 years, on a schedule that way. Did you purchase the most recent processor? So I put this in here. This is getting a little bit technical. I'm not going to go super deep here, but I did want to highlight something here. If you buy a new machine, a new business class machine, if you're sold the latest processor, so I'm going to use Intel as an example. Let's say we're on the 10th gen of processor. I think we're past that now, but if we're on the 10th gen, if you buy the 10th gen processor, then you're easily going to be able to make it 3 years. If the 10th is the newest, you're going to make it 3 years. You may be able to make it 4 or 5. But something that I do see sometimes businesses do is instead of buying the 10th gen processor, the latest processor, they'll buy 2 generations back because it's a lot cheaper. Maybe they buy the 8th generation processor. So in 3 years, they're now way behind on the amount of horsepower that they have. So it's just something you want to think about. Again, when you're purchasing machines, whoever you're purchasing them from, just ask, is this the latest software? Are you selling me last year's model, essentially? What does downtime cost us? As I said earlier, you may have an AutoCAD designer that is your one AutoCAD designer. That's your whole business. You have one tech that runs that machine. If that machine's down, the whole business doesn't work. We're going to treat that machine differently as far as a replacement schedule than we are other machines inside the plant. So hopefully that makes sense. It's just something to consider. I certainly don't recommend across the board with a business, hey, we're going to replace all these machines at the exact same time. It would be great if we could do that because it makes it easy, but financially a lot of times it doesn't always make sense. And then the final thing is if you're watching this video and you're having to replace machines, now is the time to think about this and say, hey, can we think about this for our whole business, and can we really put this on a schedule so we don't have to keep thinking about it? So if we're going to replace all the machines, we know that these 10 machines are going to get replaced in 3 years, so we can plan for it, we can budget for it. Budgeting's a big thing. We can budget for it. It makes life so much easier. And then these other 5 machines, we'll let them go to 5 years or whatever it may be. So now is the time to think about it. If you have any questions, or if you want to go deeper into this and you're watching this video before September of 2024, please go to the link below. I'll link it in the description as well. We would love to have you at our live event. We're going to talk about building an IT budget and just lots of things around that, all the things you need to consider when you're talking about that, and how to do it. We'll also talk about AI and some other cool stuff, so we'd love to have you. It is a free event. It'll be a lot of fun. If you have any questions, you know where to find us, or leave a comment below. Have a great day.